Every black person living should go to Ghana and see them slave castles so you can see what they did to us. You got to see what they did to us. You got to see how they built these dungeons underground and they put these churches on top and they dug holes in the ground to pump the music of what they call their Christianity into the holes while, man, they did, let me explain something to y'all. They walk them as far as they can first to make them lose weight. They put them in a room, then they cut a door, and after you've been in this room in 2 weeks, they walk you through this door. If you lose the right amount of weight, you fit through the door. If you don't fit through the door, you got to stay in this room right here. Then you in this room for another week, they make you lose some more weight. Then you fit through another door. If you can't fit through the door, you ain't lost enough weight. You got to go through 4 doors like that before you go through the door of no return.
They said it's over for black people, but you know what? God saved the day. I will not say God of black people. Let me just say God saved the day, okay? Grand Rising family, welcome back to my YouTube commentary. That is my title. And on what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to walk on history of black survival against slavery, colonization, racism, systematic oppression. I'm going to walk through how enemies or how some people always predict the fall of black people, and even they create an environment for black people to fall. But we never fall. We are rising. That's shocking. Okay? I'm going to talk about the role that faith, spirituality, and God is playing in guiding black survival and victories of black people. Okay? Now, that's what I'm going to talk about today. While I was away, I went through books. I went through listening to historians. I listened to researchers. I listened to professors. And I realized one thing, that black people were meant to fail by the system. But the plan of God is black people to win. Black people are the first people in the face of the earth. Black people have superpowers. And they know that, and that's why they planned anything or everything against us to fall. Now, they have always been saying our story is finished, that we'll never rise again. But let me tell you, God saved the day, and history has proven that time and time again, that no matter what system built against us, no matter how much they try to erase us, no matter how loud they declared our end, we rise and rise again. Now, this video is not just about commentary. Video, it's a testimony. Okay, it's a testimony, and I know you have the testimony of how you survived as a black person. Maybe you are black in India, maybe you are black in Asia, maybe you are black in Australia, but you have been surviving and thriving. Okay, so this is a testimony how God always stood with black people through every storm, from slavery to colonization. But before I walk to this journey, before we talk about this, I want to play you some videos here, okay? And then we come back and talk. I have a lot to say. Let's watch this one.
Think about the horror of the transatlantic slave trade. Being stuck in the holds of ships for months, laying in our own urine and defecation. Some of us, if we got a chance, jumped overboard into the open mouths of sharks rather than come to America to be made slaves. And what they took out of Africa was the strongest in Africa. And when we got through the Middle Passage, those that died in the Middle Passage and those that survived were the strongest of the strong. We have been under the worst oppression that has been accorded to any human being in the annals of history, and here we are. You can still laugh and joke and smile and sing and dance, and when white folk look at you and see the power in your moves as you dance today, hip-hop culture spinning on your heads. Everything that you do, white folk trying to learn how to do it, and you're the teacher. That's right. White folk don't know how to play no drums. That's Africa. That's Africa in Cuba, Africa in Central America, Africa among the native people, Africa.
Every single black person that you see is a walking miracle. You're looking at a miracle right now, and so am I. Because for each generation of people that had to survive, all the things that they had to survive, that made it possible for us to even be born. We are a miraculous people, each and every one of us. So if I was an ancestor, I would remind that baby first, if they didn't already know, your whole existence is a miracle. You have this unique set of capabilities, mind, physical form, all these things. You have this one life right here. Don't waste it. Don't waste it thinking about what other people are perceiving you to be. Just like really get in here, acknowledge and accept that you are a miraculous human being, and you deserve to go live out your.
The conqueror writes his hey target, and now you don't expect they will always write negative things, and they have to do that because they have to justify their. We don't write our history. It has always been handed down to us orally by our elders. Of course, the white man came and he writes history. In fact, you don't know anything about any place until the white man gets there. Until the white man comes to any place, nothing lives. It's only when he comes and says, "Boof, I've discovered you, now you exist," which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Guys, we've mastered, black people, I'll be honest with you, we've mastered how to survive
on nothing.
On nothing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you must just have a camera in front of a shack and then look at the people that come out, how they dressed, how they look. You know what I mean? Like a poor person will pay 1,000 rand for a Carvela because he knows that shoe will last him a long time because he walks everywhere and that shoe's durable. So that's how they think. That poor people will buy quality stuff to make sure it lasts.
And also it garners a certain level of respect, right?
Exactly.
Because
it's like nyastanda.
Yeah,
no matter what the situation is, nyastanda.
At least if I look good, it doesn't matter where I'm going. Where I'm going, they don't know that I come out of a shack.
Exactly. And you know, even though we didn't have much, like growing up, we didn't eat meat all the time. But mom knew how to make cabbage 5 different ways.
Yeah.
You know, Monday you'd have spicy cabbage. Tuesday you'd have cabbage with tomato. You know, you'd have cabbage the whole week and not realize you were eating the same meal.
And then sometimes it'd be cabbage and mashed potato. You're like,
the combination. Same meal. Same meal.
All week.
Because what I think what gets to me the most, especially when I got older, is when I found out how much we actually survive on as a family. And I think, how did you do it, Mom?
All of you are adults. Adults, right? You can drive, you can drink, you can vote. I don't have that. When I asked my mom if I could be dropped off here, her response was, "Is it safe? Is it safe?" You know, we had someone come up here and talk, "Don't teach our children to disobey those who are protecting us." I don't see them protecting me. If you want to talk about those protecting me, I look to those who are standing right now because my trust isn't in them. I don't trust any of you. I don't trust any of the police officers because you have shown time and time again that we cannot trust you. I go to City High Middle School, just voted the top high school in the state. You know what they teach us? Teach us to speak up for yourself. We're IB learners, right? We're smart. None of you are smart. None of you can recognize murderers. You can identify that there is a problem, but you cannot fix it. I don't know much about the law. Again, I'm young, but I'm pretty sure an accomplice to a murder should be arrested. And right now, all of you sitting and doing nothing are accomplices to a murder. I am frustrated, and frustrated can't even begin how absolutely terrified I am to live here.
I've said number of times that I love history, because history that we present ourselves as black people speaks about us, because we need to tell our story as it is. Okay, now when we say they said it's over, or when I say they said it's over for black people, it did not start yesterday. It did not start today morning. Okay, that declaration have been made for centuries. Every empire that tried to destroy us, every empire that tried to destroy Africans, to destroy black people, believed that we were writing the final chapter of our story. They said it's over for Africa, but see what Africa is doing. See what African youths are doing. See what Pan-Africans are doing. See African youth content creators are doing, are bringing back our history as it's supposed to be, because they erased the history. But we are rewriting our own history the way it's supposed to be. Think about the transatlantic slave trade. Think about how millions of our ancestors were chained, were stolen and shipped like cargo across the oceans. The world at black people and said, we are finished. Europeans build their wealth on the blood and sweat of our people. Those are African Americans. And they believed AA will never recover. Now, even in the belly of the slave ships, our ancestors prayed, okay? Even when they were stripped their languages, their culture, name, but they held on to faith. They whispered to each other in the fields that God will deliver us. They whispered that. And that's where we created another chapter of culture. That's where our black ancestors created another chapter of names and language. Black Americans right now are the descendants of survivors. Black Americans, you are not the descendants of victims. You are the descendants of survivors, of warriors, because they thought the chains would end you. But you know what? God made those chains a testimony that you have today. Africans, we are descendants of those our ancestors who were colonized. They thought colonization will end us. They carved Africa up like a piece of bread. In the Berlin Conference, they sat down and divided Africa into a piece of paper with a pen. They erased the history of Africa. Imagine the systems sitting down in Berlin Conference, deciding what to do with Africa. Sitting in Berlin Conference, carving Africa, dividing Africa against each other. They told the world that Africa was weak. They told the world that Africa was backward, was primitive. They said it's over for those Africans because we have controlled their land. We took everything. But God had another plan, okay? Out of colonization, it came resistance. Out of resistance, it came freedom fighters, okay? Now, Patrice Lumumba, Dedan Kimathi, Kwame Nkrumah, we have Thomas Sankara, we have Amilcar Cabral, and many countless people or countless freedom fighters came out of that. So colonization didn't end Africans, but it only birthed a new fire for liberation. And that's what we are living in today. That's what we are living in today. Segregation and racism came to finish black people completely. That's in America. They wrote Jim Crow laws. They put up signs saying white only. They told black people that you will never be equal to us. You will never rise. You know, a lot of things. But God raised leaders like Martin Luther King, the doctor. Leaders like Malcolm X. Leaders like Rosa Parks. God kept fire of justice burning until segregation fell. Now, in modern day, that was history. Because we cannot have a good conversation before we start from history. So in modern day today, they are saying it's over for black people, okay? We remember they said it with slavery, with colonization, with segregation, but each time God stepped in. Each time our story continued. And we are here as black people. We are here now in modern days as black people. And still we have something we call modern oppression. Because even in the 21st century, they are still declaring that it's over for black people. The systems just changed their uniforms, but it is the same system, okay? Instead of people, or instead of chains right now, it's mass incarceration. Instead of colonial armies, it's what we call police brutality. Instead of segregation, it's what we call redlining, underfunded schools, and economic traps. So it is just the same system changing clothes. The same system. It came with red tie, now it came with blue tie, now it came with red tie. It came with blue hat, now it's coming with red hat. Same system. Look at the prison industry. They build prisons like plantations. In America, for it to be precise, black men make up small percentage of the population, but they fill the prison cells. Man, let me say this. It says it's over for black men. They lock them away. They break their families. They silence their voices. But family, every behind bars, the spirit of resistance rises. Prisoners are writing books, starting movements. And when they come out stronger than when they went in. That means what? That means God turns even the darkest cell into a space of awakening. Look at the police brutality. Every time we see a brother or a sister murdered by police or unalived by police, the message from the system is clear. It's over for black people. You can't do shit. You can't walk on the road straight. When you walk, someone is following you up. You can't enter into a grocery store without someone looking at you, following at you. That means what? That means it's over for you, okay? That means it's over for you. But instead, the world rises from the days of Ferguson to Minneapolis, okay? From Lagos, Nairobi to London, the cry of black lives echoes across the globe. Millions marched, millions shouted, Black Lives Matters. And that was not coincidence. That was divine alignment, okay? So, they have tried everything. They have tried racism, okay? Everything. Even the spiritual insight. The reason we keep rising is because our survival is not man-made. It is God-made. Because you cannot destroy what God has ordained. For those who know ordination, ordaining. You cannot destroy what God has ordained. They thought systems will finish black people, but the Creator plan is something bigger. Our existence today is living proof that divine intervention is stronger than human oppression, okay? So when they say it's over, they don't say like they come on a microphone and say it's over for you. No. Reactions and actions are speaking louder. But when they say that, black people just smile because history has already proven them wrong. And God has already proven us right. Okay? Now, the question we must ask ourselves, why do they keep saying it's over for black people? Why? Why are they so much desperate to write our obituary when we are still alive? Okay? Even when we keep proving them wrong each and every time. Why? This is because of fear. They fear of black power. Fear of black power. They fear our strength. They fear our unity. They fear our creativity. They fear our spiritual connection to God and to the universe. So the entire system of white supremacy was built on the fear that if black people stood firm or stood tall, if we ever united, if we ever realize our true power, the world will shift forever. They have economic fears. Look at the economics right now. Africa holds the richest resources on earth. That's reality. Gold, diamond, oil, cobalt, coltan. Without Africa, the modern world cannot function. And yet they are saying Africa is poor. Okay? They say Africans will never rise. They say a lot of things. Why? Because they know the day Africans unite and take control of their resources, global power will shift from the West to the motherland. They declare our end before it even begins. They have cultural fear. Look at culture right now. Black culture shapes the entire globe. From music to fashion, language, sports, everything, science, spirituality. The world copies us. So yet, they are copying us, and the same world is saying that we are nothing, that we are finished. But family, if we are finished, why does the world imitate us every single day? Okay? Their declaration of our end is nothing but a cover-up of their deep obsession. They have spiritual fear. That's the most powerful part. They fear our divine connection. They know that God has always been with us. They know we are a people of rhythm. They know we are the people of prophecy, resilience. They know we can take the pain and turn it into power. They know that when everything is stripped away, our faith remains. That scares them more than anything. So every time they say it's over for black people, it's not a statement of fact. It's a wish. They just wish. Okay, it's a prayer of their own fear, because deep down they know the truth. We are not ending, we are rising, and no system on earth can stop what God has ordained. No. Okay, so right now we are living in a powerful moment, because when I say God is saved the day, or God is saving the day for black people, I'm not just talking about history, I'm talking about today. I'm talking about right now, this generation that we are living in. But Africa right now, Africa is rising. For decades, the West told lies about Africa. They told that Africa was nothing, Africa was poor, that they will always depend on them. But look what's happening. Young Africans are rising. Technology hubs is growing in Kenya, in Ghana, in South Africa. You know, nations are breaking away from Western influence. So African youths are no longer waiting for mission right now. They are innovating, creating apps, building businesses. Things are happening in Africa. When you go to black diaspora people, you know, when you go there, in America, in the Caribbean, in the Europe, black people are waking up. They are questioning, they're asking questions, they are questioning the systems. You know, they once trusted that system, but right now they are questioning the system. They are uniting across borders like never before. Okay, from Black Lives Matters protests to Pan-African conferences, from civil or cultural festivals to digital movements, spirit of unity is taking over. They said black Americans were too broken, too divided, too scared to fight back. But look, black Americans right now are leading conversation on justice, freedom, and cultural pride globally. Okay, Caribbean people right now are globally icons. They say that they are just separated. Look at what's happening right now. Okay, so this is what I call global shift. And the beauty of all of it is that in every protest, every gathering, in every act of defiance, you hear faith, you hear gospel songs, you hear chants of prayers, you hear people say God is with us. And that is not coincidence, that's a divine alignment. Okay, and God does not allow us to go through storms for no reason as black people. Let's understand that every trial, every oppression, every setback has been a classroom. Our history itself is not just pain, it's a library of lessons. And if we pay attention, those lessons will guide us into victory. Okay? The first lesson, every time we were divided, the enemy won. Colonization succeeded because Africa was divided into tribes, languages, and borders. Slavery lasted longer because our people were separated and turned against each other. And today, the system thrives on our division. Africa versus African Americans, Caribbeans versus continental, Christians versus Muslims. But the truth is clear, when we unite, we win. Okay? Look at Haiti right now. When enslaved Africans united, they defeated Napoleon's army, the greatest army of that era. So unity is not optional, family. Unity, it's survival. Another example is our faith. Faith is our power as black people. That's the lesson where I'm learning from all of this. Our ancestors endured centuries of chains because they believed in something greater than themselves. They sang songs of hope. They prayed through tears, whispered scriptures and proverbs in the night. Without faith, the weight would have crushed them. Yes. Lesson number 3 is leadership. Leadership. Every major shift in our story came when God raised leaders. Harriet Tubman, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Mandela, Winnie Mandela, name all of them. Thomas Sankara. Now we have Ibrahim Traore. And with Ibrahim Traore, something good is coming out. Okay? Now, for centuries, they tried to keep us ignorant. It was illegal to teach an enslaved person to read. Colonizers rewrote our history to make us forget who we are. But every time we reclaim knowledge, we reclaim power. That's what I always say. Let's have knowledge on us. Okay? And that's why I'm trying so hard to study history, to study culture, technology, and economics. It's not just learning, okay? I'm fighting for liberation. So we need to access knowledge. You hear me? So I'll say this. Survival was never the end goal of us. God didn't save us through centuries of storms just so we could simply exist. No, He saved us because we have a destiny, a purpose as black people, a divine assignment in this world. The destiny of black people is leadership, not the kind of leadership that oppresses, but the kind of leadership that uplifts. For centuries, others have taken from us, lied to us, and tried to rule over us, but God is turning the story. Africans, the diaspora, the black world, we are being positioned to lead with wisdom, with strength, with creativity, and with justice. Okay? And our assignment is spiritual. We carry a rhythm and a connection to God that the world cannot explain. And that's why our music heals nations. That's why our prayers moves mountains. That's why our resilience inspires even those outside our community. God saved us because he intends to use us to light for others. The world is out of balance because of greedy, racism, exploitation, and destruction of the earth dominance. But you know what? Black people have always lived in balance with community, with nature, with faith. So our destiny is to remind the world of that balance, to restore what was broken, and to lead humanity back to its original harmony. Until there, let's meet the next episode.